In the still of the night, I think of you. My heart beats with every thought of you. You're the one I can't let go. In your arms I find my home. Love, sweet love, it's you I'm dreaming of every moment.
One day she was less busy. She had decided to play with the sewing machine and had surprised everyone, including herself, with her tremendous ability to sew. Not only did she know how to sew, her stitches and cut were immaculate. Before long, the woman became popular and favorite of all. People came from far and wide to give her jobs. Chuck listened with marvel at the story she told. Could this be the truth? He asked himself. Could he trust her? Was she spinning a story to get out of a difficult situation? He didn't know what to believe. Looking at her, how emotional and sincere she looked, it was safe to say she was saying the truth. Then he recalled how she was willing to let him think the worst of her instead of getting him involved. He took a deep breath and paid more attention to her story. One of the customers told me about Noah that she was interviewing. The woman told me I was too skilled to waste away in an obscure shop. When I told my boss, and had me arrested for stealing a fabric worth 10,000 naira, she and sister conspired on how to keep me making money for the both of them. After I got back from the police station, I pretended that I had forgotten about leaving to stop them from monitoring me. The first sign that they had relaxed their mind, I ran away. I came for the interview and got the job, the rest you know. She then looked at Chuck. There were a series of emotions passing through his face, but she couldn't fathom any. When you first came to work for Mo, where did you sleep? What did you eat? Helen took a deep breath as her heart broke anew. He didn't believe her. No one would blame him. She wouldn't have believed it either if it didn't happen to her. I had some money saved up from the tips and meager pay I received from being a waitress. I got myself a one-room, a windowless small room, more like a shop. It was empty and I didn't mind. It was near the boutique so I could walk to it, and I had already gotten used to not having enough to eat. I endured till I got my first pay a month later. Does Mo know? No, she answered. You've worked with her for almost 3 years and haven't told her. When I came to work for her, I was like any other seamstress in the house. She was the boss and I hardly knew her. 8 months later, I was promoted to be her assistant because she had noticed my work. Even then, we didn't become friends till much later, and I couldn't tell her because I had left it for too long. I am sorry for sounding suspicious, Helen, but you can agree this is all difficult to take in. She nodded. Will you tell Mo? He asked, looking at her. Yes, I will, but I don't know if I should. These people are just too dangerous. Maybe I will go away again so I don't endanger people I love. Go away. The thought pierced through him like a knife. He would never see her again, hold her again. And she would do it too. If he had not come to her house when he did, she would have run away again. He was not going to let her out of his sight. He was not going to let her go. He called himself all sorts of fool for finding it hard to believe her. He could see the fear in her eyes. That fear was very real, and the need to protect those she loved was very real too. Then he held her. As soon as he enfolded her in his arm, she sobbed anew. He soothed her. It pained him to see her like this. Where was the lively and stubborn woman he knew? How was she able to bottle up an ordeal this big inside of her and still function normally? You are very strong, Helen. I don't think I would survive if I forgot my family and friends for 3 years. Hope, faith, somehow I know that I will remember one day. I wanted those who loved me to see a better and a stronger me. I wanted it to be a happy day, and I thought it would only be if I am a better version of myself when I finally remember. I am so sorry I never told anyone. I don't know. I don't think I should. I think I should leave, she hiccuped. He pulled away from her a little. No, he thought, he would never let her go. Leave him. Never. She was a part of him, the best of him. She made things possible that he didn't think were possible. He could feel things he never thought were possible for him to feel, all because of her. No, they were going to figure this out, whoever they were, whatever they wanted. They have Chuck Obinna Okoha to deal with. They would have to go through him and all the fight he could muster to get to her. He would fight, he would bleed, he would do all that is possible to keep her safe and alive and his. I can't put you in danger, not just you, Mo, Sean, Eva, Stanley, everyone I have come to love and care for. You don't see it now, but the best solution is for me to leave. To a place they will never. You are not going anywhere, he said quietly, too quietly that Helen realized there was no reasoning with him on this one. I don't remember these people or how I connect with them. I don't know who I was or what I did for a living or how I could attract the attention of such dangerous men. I am afraid of what I would discover when my mind is ready. You should be too. Helen, you are too pure and innocent to have the kind of dark past you are painting. I can't stay. I am not letting you go, he said and stood up to stand by the window. He heaved a sigh, not just because you are my girl. Did he just say you are my girl? Helen asked herself. As sorrowful and frightened as she was, her heart couldn't resist taking a leap of joy just hearing him call her his girl. The sound of his voice brought her back to reality. You can be in the same room with the very person who wants you dead and not know it, Helen. I am not risking it. I am not letting you out of my sight. Helen knew it was useless arguing with him, not when he had that look in his eyes and spoke very calmly. Then she realized if she was going to keep everyone she cared about safe, it was up to her to take the necessary precautions and leave. Leave. Her heart broke in a million pieces just thinking about it. How was she going to leave him? She had just found him, he had just begun to care for her. There was still so much the future held for them, she thought as she felt the tears on her cheeks once more. Yet all those wouldn't matter if he lost his life because she was too much of a coward to do the wise thing. She knew that no matter the distance she put between them, as long he was safe she would be happy and hopeful that the fate calling out the tune they had been dancing would find a way for them to be together again. Chuck saw the tears rolling down and went to hold her. It's okay, babe, we will find a way. We will figure it out. He kissed her forehead, her cheeks. Helen held on to him, as if by holding tight enough she could ward off the very evil about to snatch him away from her. She wondered how she was going to survive without him, his touch, his smile, his temper, his kiss, and she drew his lips down to hers and kissed him as if by so doing, she would etch the memory of his touch, his kiss, and the heavenly feel of his body on her mind forever, imprint them in her heart where she was sure she would always carry him no matter how far she ran. Chuck had resisted the urge to kiss her for long, thinking she needed his comfort and not his passion, but when she kissed him suddenly and with his guard still down, he couldn't help but pour the whole tenderness he was feeling into the kiss. At that point he wanted nothing more but to reach the deepest part of her, touch her soul and somehow kiss away the fear that her eyes couldn't hide. He needed to feel like a part of her. He realized that he has taken it farther than he wanted, still he could not find the will to stop. Helen heard the knocking sound and wished it to oblivion. She didn't want anything intruding on this special moment. This might be the last time she would ever feel his lips on hers, his hands on her and his firm, hard body pressed against her, but it came again and more urgently and he stopped. Chuck knew he had taken the kiss farther than he wanted. All he was supposed to be offering her was his comfort and not the undiluted intensity of his passion. Who is there? Dinner is served, and your mother is getting impatient. We will be right there, he called out and turned to Helen, who smiled at him and his heart lit up. She had a smile that could make a man trade his soul just so he could be the only recipient of it, and was it shyness he just saw in that smile? He chuckled and drew her to her feet, leading her out of the room. Thinking how cute she looked there, incredibly ruffled and shy at the same time by a kiss that got a little bit out of hand. He couldn't help thinking how it would be if they had more time. Helen entered the dining room and let out a gasp at the wonder of it. Good of you to join us, Pat snapped. Helen realized then they were not the only occupants of the room. Pat was sitting at the head of the table. Collins was sitting 4 seats from her, his face a mask of anger. Helen wondered at it, and hoped that their delay wasn't responsible for the tension she could feel. Chuck didn't say anything to his mother, he just drew out a seat for her and sat beside her. Helen could also feel the stiffening of his body, which she had come to know as a sign of rising temper. She was wondering at the strangeness of it all, when the housekeeper bristled in with a tray of food. Instinctively Helen got up to help her. The woman smiled her appreciation. "Would you tell your lady love to sit and let the help do her job?" Helen became acutely embarrassed by the statement, and was about to sit, but Chuck's words beat her to it. "Whatever you do, Pat, I am more than happy to ignore, but never dare to address Helen in such manner ever." Helen stood transfixed on the spot, wondering how Chuck would speak to his mother in such fashion. She chanced a look at Collins, but he was staring at his mother with a murderous look. She realized that there was so much about their relationship with their mother she didn't know yet, and probably, this was the reason they stayed far away from her. Why no one spoke of her, why her mere presence in his house would chase him to hers. Quietly she sat down. "We should have a word of prayer," Pat began. And Collins shot to his feet. "I don't know about you, bro, but I can't take this charade any longer." He began to walk out. "Come back here," Pat called. Collins kept walking. Helen peeped at Chuck, and his face was filled with so much anger, all directed at his mother. Helen wondered how she would feel if she was the recipient of such murderous looks. Incredulous Helen thought, "This is not about you, Helen," she reminded herself. All her concern should be for the poor woman so hated by her sons. But the Chuck and Collins she had come to know would not just hate their mother for no reason. Even if there was, what reason could be enough to hate a woman who gave birth to you? It seemed as if she was not the only one with secrets. "We had a deal," Pat reminded Collins, and he turned and came back. "A deal?" He laughed angrily. "Here we are pretending to be what we are not. Sitting to eat while an innocent girl suffers from the hands of a monster." Collins shouted her. "That is why we have a deal. I will tell you where she is. How come you don't see it? Your monstrosity. She is your daughter, for crying out loud. And all you care about is to eat and drink and order me around. No, Pat, I am not having any of it again. If it were up to me, you would leave this house. I never want to see you in my life again." He walked out. "I am sure you are satisfied. You have finally turned him against me, you green-eyed devil." Helen didn't think she could be more shocked after what she had just witnessed, but Pat's comeback at Chuck had just done that. And she became very afraid because she knew how angry Chuck was. She watched him shake his head in pity and got up. "I don't think you are still hungry after this performance. Walk with me by the beach." Helen got up and walked with him, not even turning to look at Pat once. Helen removed her sandals as they came to the beach. She was content to walk in silence, even though her mind was bubbling with curiosity and questions. He drew her to him as if needing her quiet strength. Helen let herself be drawn to him. She was not going to push him to talk. If what he needed was some peace, she was ready to offer it. She was sure there was some kind of explanation to it all. Who was the innocent girl suffering at the hands of a monster? And then it dawned on her that Chuck has a sister. And her eyes widened in disbelief. "Oh goodness," she thought. "I know you have questions," he said. "In your own good time," she answered. "Thank you," he said, and she couldn't contain her disappointment. But who was she to complain? She hid her own secret for so long. And if circumstances had not forced her to reveal it, she wouldn't have. "I don't think there's gonna be a better time," he said somberly, and stopped walking and found a spot for them to sit down. Helen suddenly had a feeling that she was about to hear a secret only those considered family knew, and she heart melted with so much emotion she didn't believe existed or possible for one to feel. And it stemmed from somewhere deep, with realization that she was his woman. He knew it and had accepted it, and so did she. She sat down beside him, but as if that wasn't close enough, she wrapped her hands around him with all the new and exquisite emotions she was feeling. Chuck sat down, wondering where to start. He was transported back in time, to the days before he met Rose, the woman he could call mother. Not the monster and pretender sitting in his dining room, caring only about fine things he could offer her. Then words began tumbling out of his mouth before he became too afraid to explain. Pat had gotten pregnant with him at the age of 14. She was a young prostitute living in a very poor brothel. She had just arrived from her hometown to escape poverty, convinced by her best friend that this was the only way out. Shortly she had gotten pregnant, and didn't realize, till she was too far gone to attempt an abortion, coupled with the fact that she was scared that the local mixture of herbs and chemicals she was given to drink would kill her instead, so she gave birth to him. And to the shock and surprise of everyone, to a half-caste boy. I grew up in that brothel, spent the first 10 years of my life there, he shrugged. Helen was staring at him in shock and understanding. It was the worst and lowest kind of life anybody could live, but it was my life and I didn't mind too much, the fights, the deaths, the immorality, abuse of all kinds of chemical substance, and the crime rate. They were animals in human form. I cringed to think about them. Somehow I discovered football and it became my escape. The only damper was the mothers of the kids would not let me hang out with them. I was always chased away anytime I visited their homes. I attended a public school whenever my mother remembered, or had money enough to pay my school fees, which meant I barely attended school at all. Helen's heart broke for him. She could feel tears run down her cheeks at the life he had to endure. Whenever my mother would have customers, I would wait outside her room, most nights. I would sleep by the corner of her door, whether it rained or not. I guess I got used to the mosquitoes because I hardly noticed them at all. As I got older, I grew taller than most boys my age, and bigger. Not that I had enough to eat. My mother preferred to use her money to buy alcohol and drugs instead of food. One day when I was 9, I was sleeping by the corner of my mom's door as usual when her next-door neighbor took me in because it was raining that night. She was 16, and my mom hated mostly because of her youthfulness. She was beginning to take over my mom's fame in the brothel. Well, I lost my virginity that night. No, she exclaimed through tears. He hadn't realized she was crying for him till she spoke. No need for the tears, Helen, it's all in the past now. So it became our thing, I and my mother's neighbor. She made me promise not to tell my mother. She made up for all the neglect. She fed me. I didn't have to wear rags or hand me down. I got new stuff, clothes, shoes, my favorite, a football. I was more than willing to keep her secret. Then one day my mom caught us. It was one of those days she was sober, and she had come looking for me and caught us red-handed. I actually thought she was going to be mad and prepared myself to get the beating of my life. Well, not Pat, rather she took me to her room and said if I was going to join her in the same business, the least I could do was make money out of it and help her with all the responsibilities she was faced with. So she became my pimp. Helen stood up then, mad with anger. This is not a true story. I mean what? That was Rose's exact reaction when fate brought us together, he said behind her. How did you meet Rose? I think I am ready for the good part now.
In the still of the night, I think of you. My heart beats with every thought of you. You're the one I can't let go. In your arms I find my home. Love, sweet love, it's you I'm dreaming of. Every moment with you feels like a